Ah, A Plague Tale. A game that came out in 2019 that my broke ass could not afford. But somehow I was able to throw $100 I got for Christmas at Kingdom Hearts 3. Biggest disappointment of my life.
Right next to my birth.
I'm kidding. Okay, but seriously though.
I actually really like Kingdom Hearts 3. Please don't judge.
But where do I begin with A Plague Tale? The story, the characters, the gameplay? Well, actually I'm not too sure. Everything about this game is pretty damn amazing, I have to say. But sadly, I'm gonna have to give this a 7.8 out of 10. Too many rats. Get it? No? Okay. But seriously, this game was amazing, and well worth the $20 that I paid for it. Ironically though, funny thing I found when researching about this game, the studio that was involved in making this actually was involved in making a tie-in for the movie Ratatouille from Disney. They made the game for Ratatouille or whatever. And that's kind of ironic. I'll let you guys figure out why the irony is there as the review goes on. But anyways, before I fully get into why I think this game is really good though, disclaimer. This is my personal opinion. If you don't like this game, or you like it, that's great. Once again, this is an opinion from a guy who loves video games. Myself. I'm open-minded to any video game out there. I have my own tastes. You probably have your own tastes in video games, and that's perfectly okay. This is just my personal opinion. If you want to see what the game's like for yourself, and you want to see if maybe you'd like it, go ahead and check out my playlist of Plague Tale. If I could actually link the playlist, I'll go ahead and put a link for it in the description. But anyways, spoiler warning, okay? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to click off this if you don't want spoilers. Okay, let's get started. So, let's talk about the story and the characters. So, the story takes place in 1348, around the time the bubonic plague was rampant and the Inquisition was rising in power. There's about two siblings named Amicia and Hugo. Amicia, right here, and Hugo, who unfortunately aren't very close because something is wrong with Hugo. He has a disease that's actually tied to his blood. With that, the Inquisition wants Hugo for a Grandmaster scheme devised by a guy named Vitalis Benevent. Yeah, I have to kind of look up his name because I'm like, I can't remember most of the names right off the top of my head, unfortunately, and some of these very hard to pronounce, but oh well. But during the Inquisition's raid on her village, Amicia discovered that Hugo was wanted and is then forced to leave, and unfortunately, to her, rebuild her bond with Hugo, despite the fact that they barely know each other. But of course, this gives an opportunity for them to rebuild their bond and actually get to know one another, which is really good. And I have to say, personally speaking, I genuinely love this bond between the two of them. Now, it kind of starts off a little slow, and it does start off rather bad. But it's understandable. I mean, they barely know each other because they've been separated since Hugo was born or because of the disease he's had. So, it's understandable. But as it goes on, you kind of start to see Amicia grow as a big sister or whatever and start to really take the role seriously. So it's like, she starts to kind of just, at one moment, you have her barely understanding Hugo, not knowing what the hell's wrong with him, but then the next minute, she's being a big sister, the proper big sister that he needs in this very moment, the role model that he needs. And that's amazing. And it's so well built up as the story goes on. But there's other characters that end up getting introduced to this game, whatever. And as I mentioned, you have their parents, whatever. And the queen, you have the queen, and you also have Laurentius. Now, Laurentius is the one that has been working with their parents, whatever, to help find a cure for Hugo, and they came very close. Now, as far as the other characters go, the main characters that you'll be running into, that'll be sticking with you, Melee, I don't know how to pronounce her name, M-E-L-I-E, I don't know how to pronounce that. We're going to call her Melee. So Melee and Arthur, the polar opposites of Amicia and Hugo. Now, why do I say polar opposites? Well, Melee is basically kind of obnoxious. She's a bit rampant and just kind of vulgar compared to Amicia. But she has good intentions, and she's overall a good character and remains very likable throughout the game. And Arthur is kind of the badass kind of person compared to Hugo. Hugo's a bit of a kind of a scaredy cat to some extent, but again, both these characters likable. Arthur and Melee, absolutely likable. Arthur is badass. He's looking out for his sister constantly, keeping her in check, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, there's another character named Lucas, who is the apprentice of Laurentius, who has been studying alchemy. Now, no, Lucas is not some PK-powered kid or some ancient Jimmy Neutron, but he is very smart, and he's kind of like family to Amicia and Hugo. He's a very good character. Overall, just a really nice guy, and just, is overall just, again, great-spirited, amazing character in general. I don't know what else to say about Lucas other than he's a great character. Now, there's one more character named Roderick, and Roderick is actually the son of a blacksmith, and he worked with his father in blacksmithing, but unfortunately the Inquisition kidnapped them and tortured them, and I believe Roderick's father was killed, actually, but that's why he wants to get revenge against the Inquisition. I can't remember why Melee and Arthur wanted revenge. I can't remember what exactly it was, but there was good reason. So you kind of bring all the characters together and make them have good reason to want to go after the Inquisition. So, again, thankfully, towards the end, Lucas and Amicia, they end up finding the cure for Hugo, and things go from there. But as for the main villain, oh boy. Vitalis, he gives me Herbert the Pervert vibes, and also a bootleg Star Wars character vibes. Oh boy. Not to mention he sounds like a bootleg Star Wars character. Oh, and let's not forget, injecting himself with the blood of others. Great way to get a blood disease, dum-dum. Wasn't it bleach we were supposed to inject ourselves with? That's what I thought. Okay, anyways. As for the gameplay, though, let's jump into the gameplay. I will say, I love the gameplay, to say the least. Now, there's many unique aspects to the game other than puzzle solving and the stealth. Now, the combat starts off a little slow at first, but it gets more challenging and satisfying as you're playing through it. Now, having a sling and a rock as your only weapon? Oh boy. Way to make me feel like a Bible hero. Now, where the hell's Goliath? Seriously. But as for the puzzles, you have to really explore your environment at times, and that's what makes the game more fun. It gives you a reason to keep looking around and admiring everything that is absolutely beautiful with this game and its setting. And it starts off very, colorful, beautiful, but then it gets darker, more decrepit, terrifying, and I love that. It takes such a beautiful, great start or whatever, but then just, no. This is not some beautiful, colorful game. This is fucking serious, people. I like how they take that turn. They tell you immediately, this is not going to be some lighthearted game. This is a very serious game. Now back to the puzzles and whatnot. They start off simple, but then they get a bit more challenging, because that's when the rats start to come in, but then you start getting new mechanics that happen to work that you can use against the rats, because it starts off simple, but then the rats start to kind of evolve and do new things that come off as like, whoa, they can't do that shit. But then, of course, you also learn different ways on how you can control the rats and make sure they're not coming at you or biting you and other things like that and killing you. And you can use the rats to your advantage later on in the game, because Hugo ends up awakening to his ability that's within his blood of controlling the rats and whatnot so that they can't hurt him or anyone else around him. But the camera can be a bit aggravating at times. I have to say that. Passing through walls and trying to get just right with the rats, the mechanic is a little, iffy at times. But I can at least forgive it, because the game itself, like I said, is very good. Now, like I was saying, crafting and upgrading your sling as well, it's very satisfying. Now, resources can be a bit scarce in the early chapters, but I've noticed that in later chapters, there's a lot of stuff you can get to upgrade your weapons, so pretty good to say the least. But overall, though, what I can say is, Plague Tale, I highly recommend playing this. It is an amazing game. Amazing story, unique gameplay, lovable characters, and very dark experience, but yet also fun with its puzzles, its unique stealth system. But to be serious for a second, the final boss can go fuck himself very hard, honestly. Jesus fucking Christ. But I give Plague Tale a 9 out of 10. This is an incredible game that I very highly recommend you guys try out. And if you're a trophy hunter like myself, this platinum is very, well, not very easy, but easy enough. The only issue you're probably going to have is probably, and I say probably very high emphasis on probably, you're probably going to have a hard time with upgrading your weapons and whatnot, but there is ways around it. Now, as for the other trophies, it's completing the chapters and also doing miscellaneous things in the other chapters. Now, you can find guides for them on YouTube, thankfully, so thank God for that. But, like I was saying, this game is an incredible one, and I highly recommend buying it, especially for $20. It is so worth it. Wow. I am really glad I got this last Christmas, because damn, it is good. Now, I'd like to go ahead and also start a vote, by the way, regarding my next playthrough. So, I want to go ahead and ask you guys. Now, this is going to be we're going to vote on this. 2 different games. Which one am I going to go ahead and do a walkthrough for next and a full-on review for? Crash N Sane Trilogy or Spyro Reignited Trilogy? Which one do you guys want to see me play next? Let me know in the comments. But anyways, that's all for this review. So, again, this is just my opinion. If you liked Plague Tale, if you didn't like Plague Tale, let me know. But anyways, that's all for this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you little penguins in the next video.